Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Build a Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. Today we bring up part 20 and it is a massive one as well. Ironically 20 degrees as we head to Qarabag in Azerbaijan. It is the Europa Conference qualifying round and it is the final one before the group stages. We're heavy underdogs against a very good side, not far off the level of the Zagreb side that battered us in the Champions League. But if we can miraculously find a way to get into this tie and to eventually get through it, we will be in group stage football, which will change the series forever. Now we've got a big blow, as you can see on the home screen. Samuel Fanian will miss this game with a gash lower leg. And our league start is relegation form. 1 point from 2 matches. We lost to Llanelli at the weekend. So we're not coming into this in ideal terms. But if you are looking forward to it nonetheless, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily content from 2 long-term stories. This one and the head coach, which if you didn't see yesterday's episode, please do give it a try because it was absolutely baffling. I've not seen much like it in my FM days. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. And if you did watch it, thank you for your support as always. But the Welsh Premier League season, we sort of said we'd suffer while we're in Europe. We've got Barry at the weekend, who I'd argue are title favourites. They've started better than TNS. They've probably got a better team than TNS. It's just the fact they're semi-pro that holds them back. But then, once we finish the European matches, we've got some slightly easier games on paper. And we're going to have to find form very quick, because otherwise, we're in a bit of trouble. So looking ahead to today's game, the Europa Conference is probably going to be our biggest competition moving forward. We've got a smaller reputation in the Northern Irish League when we were with Cliftonville last year, and even then we relied on this a little bit. And one of the things that I found most interesting, over on the podcast, we spoke to the Linfield chairman last week. He talked about this competition being a big game changer for them. And I wonder if it will be the same for us. It certainly makes these Builder Nations a bit more entertaining because you've got that chance at European football earlier. And I'm hoping it'll be a real big positive and reward for these sort of lower coefficient nations like the one we're in here, both in FM and in real life. But after a poor start to the league season, we need some positives in Europe. We did not play well against Llanelli. We went down to 10 men. Liam Nolan sent off in the 23rd minute. That will be his last game for the club and he is going to be sold. We're trying to get a couple of others in, most of whom have rejected us. But Liam Nolan's going to be on his way out. If we have a look, we're still trying to bring in Kane Jobson. We had him on trial twice, he rejected us once, but his English club's involved, so I wouldn't be shocked if he turns us down. But on the pitch, things are a bit worrying domestically, but in Europe, with our first 11 out, we've had our best performances this season. Perhaps we're not strong enough to rotate 11 yet, but that's why we've been so good in Europe. So there's no point holding it up. The dynamics are still good despite those defeats. We've still got big influences at the club, but we are missing the main man. And that man is Samuel Fanian, who scored nearly all of our goals. So ironically, from 2 episodes ago, where Kay McLagan was coming off the bench possibly for the final time, it looked like he was going on loan to Connors Key. It looked like we were getting in a new young striker to take his place on the bench. And now Kay McLagan is starting the most important game in the series. He hasn't scored aside from that hat-trick off the bench against Traflori, and against much stronger opposition, I do worry a bit. But apart from that, we've got our first 11 fit. Still some slight weaknesses in the side. And of course, we would like to replace 2 or 3 if we can get that prize money in. But I don't want to spend a wage budget when we haven't got that sort of financial stability yet. Don't forget, for the last 2 years, we were in debt pretty much the whole time. We've also got Jack Bodenham, who's not quite fit. He's back in the squad after injury, but he's not going to be in the 18 today. So the lineup we've gone for is Gregor Zabret in goal, Bolton and Moore the fullbacks with Hockenhull alongside Riley Hoarbottle. Hockenhull now rated the best player at the club and improving rapidly off the pitch. It's one of the reasons I'm so keen to get more coaches in later, and that will be the first thing we invest in. Now we're a professional side, is let's get a couple of those coaches in, let's try and give them more specialised training and get the best out of them. We've got a very young side, and if they develop, they could take us a bit further. We've gone in the middle for Mason Goodrich, another one who's starting to improve again. James Boot, who's been a superstar in the middle, alongside Mo Sillett, the new youngster. And Mitch Pixley, despite dropping off in form very slightly, is in the number 10 role behind McLagan and Amadi Holloway. Now, Holloway scored a few good goals in recent games, mainly screamers rather than anything exciting. So we're hoping we'll get something out of him today, because we're relying on him, really, to lead the strike force. On the bench, we've got the likes of Ericsson back in, both fullback areas covered. Jack Hankins wanted on loan by Dorking Wanderers. Bit of a crossover with FM20, that. But the fact that our young backup players are wanted by English clubs on loan, albeit non-league ones, is a big step forward as well. Glendon, Kretschmar, Rogers and Jimmy Spencer still there if we need them. No one will pay his wages. We were looking to replace him. So at 30, Jimmy Spencer is the super sub we might need today. So into the game we go. I've got a sneaky feeling this is going to be a pasting. We'll drop to balanced as soon as we get into it. But let me know what you think the score will be below. And let's go and see how we get on. As you can see, 9 changes from the last league game. Only McLagan and the goalkeepers are Brett started. And they were both on the losing side against Llanelli. One of the probably basement sides this season, I'd expect. So it's not been the best start to the season in terms of the Welsh Premier League. Of course, we've got cups we can chase. But with Barry and TNS both improving quite heftily, it might be a tough season for us. So Qarabag, a very good side. We know how much quality they've got. We know they've got a superstar striker who's basically Premier League standard. So let's just go and get into it with a fist pumped. In fact, no. Hands on the hips. You're underdogs. Go and show everyone why you deserve to be here. We'll get through the tunnel interview. I've said we're slight favourites. That is absolute nonsense, isn't it? But into the first half at Qarabag, we'll drop to balanced and try and hold on. As Jack Bolton's got a throw in early on. We're on the front foot here. Plays a 1-2 with Silla. Bolton cuts it inside to Goodrich. Up to Silla and it's cleared away downfield. Now, don't forget, at home to Dinamo, we were very good. Away, we struggled. As Pixley puts in McLagan. Oh, he's hit the post. It was almost the perfect start within 2 minutes. It might be the best chance we get all night. And we've squandered it against the woodwork. He's gone behind for a corner kick. Goodrich will take it. Amadi Holloway up and loses out. And now on the counter, this is where we've got to worry. Look at the pace getting forward. Look at the numbers they're throwing at it. Into the right-hand side. Bolton's trying to close him. Gets to the byline, and it's a good block. And it's a corner kick for Qarabag. But the first chance of the match goes to Bangor. As we're coming forward again, the only thing I would say about this game, Asila's got it on the edge of the box, loses out, and here's the counter. 2-on-2. They've beaten the centre half. It's the star man and skipper. Verdiev's in, and it's just gone wide of the post. But the one thing I would say is they're playing a 4-4-2 with 2 holding midfielders. So in terms of that diamond in the middle, we can get on the ball. It's not like we're going to be dominated in possession so much. And here you can see it. Moore's giving it to Boot and there's no pressure. Plays with Pixley and now Silla. So it's almost like they're happy for us to have the ball there. But will they pay for it? Because I don't think it's the right tactic to play against us. As Pixley gets it into Holloway. Back to Boot. It's been a very strong performance so far, if nothing else. And Silla finds Boot again. Back to Goodrich. Over the top towards McLagan. It's mishit. But the clearance only finds him again. It's Boot. He's got time 30 yards out to Silla. Probably a bit further in truth. Back to Goodrich. To Boot. Can we get the shot away? It's lovely football. But Pixley slides it in. McLagan's 1-on-1. It's a brilliant save by the keeper. Oh, what an opportunity. McLagan's had 2 of them. And I just think, if we had Fanny Ann playing up front, would we have had the lead by now? No shots on target for either side. There must have been. McLagan's one was on target. It was saved. I'm not sure I trust those stats. As it's the home side coming forward here on the right. Into the box is a great header. And Osgarov gives them the lead. Probably Zabret could have got a hand to that. But Qarabag lead with 10 to the break. And they're starting to get on top here. After a promising start, we didn't take advantage. And the hosts are now on top as they've got another free kick. Into the box. It's going to be 2. Oh, it's all going wrong. And group stage football is not coming to us this year. We didn't think it would be. It's a miracle we've got this far. But this run is going to end here. If we lose by 2 or more, we won't recover it in the home leg. But we've had chances and we've competed a bit. And do you know what? That's something we can be proud of. So let's pump the fists. In fact, we'll get our hands in our pockets. We'll tell them to give it their best shot. And just see if we can get something out of them. Amadi Holloway's a bit upset. I'm not quite sure why. Because, you know, he's not had a bad day. Can we shout at individuals? As they've got the ball into the box again. Headed clear. We're going to try and encourage Amadi Holloway. I don't know how it will work. I've not done an individual team talk this year yet. So let's go and give it to him. There we go. We're going to do it for both the front 2. As McLagan puts it in. And is cleared downfield to Moore. We have had the lion's share of possession here. The tactic has been good in that sense. But we've really struggled at the back, particularly crosses, set pieces. They've got that extra ability, but McLagan's in again. And this time he does put it in the back of the net. Unfortunately, the flag is up. It will be disallowed. But a third good chance of the game for McLagan. And this time he just strayed offside. But as you can see with 20 to go, possession's 50-50. We've not been outclassed in terms of shots or expected goals. It's just a case of not taking chances. McLagan's not had a good game. If we had someone else, we would. We're going to take off Amadi Holloway for Spencer. We are going to take Boot off because he's on a yellow. There's no need to risk it. It will be Max Kretschmar or Glendon. I think we're going to go for Glendon because he's slightly more defensively minded. And then Bolton's had a poor game at left back. So on will come Ryan Law. 3 substitutions made with 20 to go. Now can we keep the scoreline respectable? And can we keep the performance strong? Well, there we go. 3 minutes of added on time up. And it did sort of fizzle out. But we didn't do too badly there. A 2-0 defeat at the Azerbaijani champions. We've got to be quite happy with that. They're a good side. They've played Champions League and Europa League football quite consistently in recent years. And Qarabag have handed us a 2-0 defeat in the first leg. Now, can we get through the league game finally with a result? And then maybe shock the cards at home. We'll probably be at the racecourse again. So let's play Barrytown United off camera. And we'll skip ahead for the second leg in a moment. We're back to face Qarabag in the second leg of the Europa Conference Playoff round. There's a lot of injury concerns, particularly going forward, but there's something more important than that. Something more important than the transfers, you can see. When does a poor start become a crisis? Because we were not just beaten by Barrytown, we were outclassed, outworked, outshot, outpossessioned, out everything. And it was a comfortable 2-0 defeat with Diakite doing the damage. And that means Barry after 4 games on 10, TNS 1 behind on 9, and we after 3 games are on 1 point at the bottom of the table. If we win our game in hand, of course we're on to 4, but that's still 5 and 6 behind. The other 2 teams have put a lot of effort into improving the window. TNS are signing players left, right and centre. They're working their backsides off to get people in. Barry are signing few and far between, but they're good. And more importantly, they're keeping hold of their star players. They've got Press, who's the best midfielder in the league, probably the best player in the league. And TNS are spending money now as well. 10 grand for their last signing. There are positives to come for them. But we've got one out, as you can see. Liam Nolan has joined Kettering on loan after that red card against Llanelli, which cost us what would have been our only win of the season. We had to let him go. So he's gone off to England. They're paying 80% of his wages. They're giving us a nominal fee to cover the rest. It's as much as we could hope for. We have, though, if we scroll down a little bit, also brought in 2 players on trial. So Kane Felix, a player who's well known for his stints in non-league. He is a quality striker with plenty of pace. So we've brought him in. We might well let him go afterwards. We'll wait and see. But the idea is that he comes in, McLagan goes out. And then we've also brought in Kane Ferdinand as a potential replacement for the man we've just let go, Liam Nolan. 29 years of age, had a brief stint at my club, Luton Town, but most notably with Woking and previously Peterborough and Southend. He's had a good career in the game, and he might be someone who can help us out. So we'll wait and see on those fronts, but today is all about Qarabag. We lost 2-0 in the first leg, and at home, or the Racecourse Stadium as it is today, we've got the slightest glimmer of hope of getting through. So let's see who's fit, who's back from injury, and whether we can cause an almighty shock. So in terms of full fitness, this is the strongest possible squad. I'm going to bring Hankin onto the bench for Ericsson, and I'll replace Gwenault with Law, but the big question is, do we risk Fanian? He's low risk of injury, he's fatigue, he's fresh because he's been out injured. So we're going to bring him in for McLagan. He's on the bench today. I think we have to put Spencer on the bench as well, in truth. Oh, I don't know. No, we're going to leave Spencer out. We can't risk both of them. So Fanian starts. Holloway's alongside him. Going to have to do a lot of the work and the legwork today. But at home to Qarabag, it is the same 11 with the exception of the strengthening with Samuel Fanian coming back in. But let's go and see if we can cause the shock or if we're going to whimper out, as we have domestically already. 10 changes from the Barry game, as you can see. Everyone except from the keepers of Brett. It wasn't a good performance there. Is it going to be a good one here? We'll drop to balanced when we get in. Still the same lineup, I think. Verdiev's up there, the skipper, the star striker. I'm just looking for those who scored in the last game. No, Osgrov's on the bench. Both of them are. So there's a few little changes there. But we are going to say, let's put in an improved performance. We're going to point the finger and do it as well. We're going to go to the tactics. We're going to drop to balanced. And we're just going to hope. We've got a tunnel interview to come. Fanian's not in perfect condition. But the best he can do for us in our biggest game of the season, it's all we're going to ask for. The money from this will be crucial. The effect it's had on the league campaign will probably be crucial in a negative way. But Qarabag had the first shot on target, and so far we've not laid a glove on them. Not the 25 minutes we were hoping for, as now their visitors are coming down the right hand side. Omedov's got it on the right. He gives it away to Silla. It's a good block in the end by Bolton, actually. And Silla brings it away to Pixley. Time in midfield. Goes inside to Boot. He's got 2 over the top. Fanian's 1. Goes back to Silla. Up to Holloway. Loses out in the air and it falls for Verdiev. Playing off the left-hand side today. They're playing a bit more defensive with that 3 in the middle. So tactically, they're set up better. And that's probably why they've dominated the match so far. That's something they weren't able to do in the home leg. As Kafarov gets it in the middle. Out wide to Kavadov, the left-back. Down the line to Verdiev. The star player and striker gets it wide again. And there's 3 or 4 in the box if he can cross it. Back to the full-back. Chance to cross it. There it is to Omedov. And his header's just wide of the post. It was Zabret diving with the spare. He was never going to get there if it was on target. But thankfully for us, it's just wide of the post. Still 2-0 on aggregate. We've not looked like scoring. But we're doing our best and we're competing. As they've got a throw on the left-hand side. Very advanced position. Just 3 or 4 minutes to the break now. As Sakharov gets it wide to Kavadov. Time on the ball. Inside again. They're keeping it nicely here. And they're playing a lot better with that extra man in the middle. They've got so much more options on the ball. So many more options even. They're really playing it around nicely and we can't really get close to them. As it's over to Omedov. Harbottle clears. Only as far as the right back though. Over the top and here's Omedov again. Must score this time. Oh, it's off the line. Just a glove on it from Zabret to slow it down. And Hockenhull surge back to clear it. And pretty similar to the Dinamo game is now if we can get some form of result at home, it's a positive. So we're going to tell the lads to do as much as they can. And see if we can get a goal at least. Something to cheer about. But here come the visitors again. 8 minutes gone in the second and here they are on the right. Pixley heads away to throw-in. Amadi Holloway chases, but we're second to everything. Sakharov through. Verdiev brings it down. It's a brilliant touch, but an awful finish. And he's got so much more quality than that. So it looks like we're going to get to the hour mark without conceding. And again, it's not been a mauling. We've just not been the better side. We've really struggled to compete and we've not really had as much possession in this one. We've still had a couple of chances. As Hockenhull's got it at the back. Finds more. Right back inside to Boot. He's giving it away. It's so slow in possession. Nazarov's been slid through. It's a good effort, but just wide. And on his weaker foot, he couldn't hit the target. Otherwise, Zabret probably struggling. 25 left. Let's make some changes. Pixley is knackered. Fanian's just back from injury, of course. So McLagan on and Pixley replaced by Rogers. And Owen Moore's on a booking. So let's give the youngster Jack Hankin a night he'll remember. A European playoff game. He's going to absolutely love the experience. 20 to go, still 0-0. Can we get a result on the night? That's what my attentions are turned to now. A 0-0 draw on the night would be brilliant. But unfortunately, it's not going to affect the overall aggregate score. A really good, solid performance at the back. Only conceded 4 shots on target. Yes, Qarabag missed a couple of good ones. But the centre-halves, the goalkeeper and the holding midfielder all looked very good. So 0-0 at home to a side that are a very good high quality team. We've got to be quite pleased with that and I'm going to say as much. Putting the result aside, pleasing performance. We've got them inspired, we've got them motivated. I know a few will probably be tired for the weekend, but I think after that, surely we can get back to our first team in the league and really start to climb up the table. Because that's the biggest concern now. If you look at the financial impacts, it is massive. 91,000 for losing that tie. 237 for our run overall. We were on TV, which is probably a couple of other grand. We have 3,000 at the racecourse, although not our normal home ground. And that's taken our finances past 500,000. So we can get them couple of bits of quality in now if we need to. We'll go and make offers for Felix and for Ferdinand too. And we'll probably let McLagan go. But it wasn't to be. Only one game from the group stages. It will help the Welsh coefficient, as will that Barry victory in the first qualifying round. And we're going to try and leave it a while now because we have got to get back on form. It's been an awful start to the season and we need to recover. We've also got things to add in this year. Extra games in the SPFL Trust Trophy. That because of our top 2 finish. So due to the change of sponsorship, no more of my favourite thumbnail from the Cliftonville series. But we are going to play Aberdeen Reserves in that one. We've got TNS just after. So again, it's a much more of a balancing act. Look at the amount of 2 games a week there are. It was very rare last season and now it's happening every week. Does seem a little bit strange. So maybe a stronger squad now is our priority with the finances. But as it stands, I'm really happy with how we did in Europe. I'm very concerned about the start to the league season. We'll be back at some point around the end of September. We've got loads of games to get through there. And we'll probably be back around Connors Quay and Aberystwyth. Maybe even Llanelli and Barry. Try and avenge those 2 defeats. But among those 4 games, we'll have 2 next time out. So if you're looking forward to that and you did enjoy this European run, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the performances and how we address this awful domestic form. I think it's pretty clear our backup side isn't ready to compete yet, and we're going to have to do a lot of work on that over the next year or so. But either way, it's not an unassailable lead yet. We'll play those sides 3 more times each. And as long as we get into the top half, stay in the mix, we'll be happy. A top 3 place in Europe is what we need every year. So if you want to stay up to date with this and big news from the head coach every day, please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back with the head coach tomorrow. You'll want to have seen yesterday's before you catch up with that, because it is an absolutely massive one, a very surprising one, and has caused a big change in the series we weren't expecting. So I hope you'll come and join me for that tomorrow. We'll be back with domestic action from Bangor in 2 days' time. And we need to get the recovery on quick, because we are in big trouble already with a 9-point deficit in the title race. As I mentioned earlier, you can catch up with the podcast channel in the eye above. A really interesting interview last week with the Linfield chairman, talking about the Europa Conference, sort of in-depth details about how transfers are made, and it sort of mirrors the recruitment meetings brought into FM. So fantastic for realism, but really interesting to hear that side of a game as a fan. There's plenty more content over there as well. Thank you for your massive support with this one and that channel too. There's live streams twice a week over here, don't forget. And you'll get alerts as long as you've got that notification bell on. But I hope you're all looking forward to the festive season. I hope you enjoyed that European run. And fingers crossed we'll be on a domestic run next time as we return for Welsh Premier League action. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.